you imagine experiencing your life as easy and peaceful most of the time, even when things around you seem to be in chaos? It truly is a possibility. That is the gift of living with soul and ego in harmony, living in self-awareness without judgment. Get ready to listen, share, and experience the magic that is energy medicine. Now, here is the host of Soul Healing with Traci Trimble, Doctor of Energy Medicine, Traci Trimble.
Good day, everyone, and welcome. Today, our show is going to be all about the most overlooked way that we can gift ourselves love and self-care. And it is all about cutting ourselves some slack. My name is Traci, and I'm a doctor of energy medicine. As a bioenergetic therapist, a spiritual guide, and an energy worker, I specialize in treating both the cause and the effects of depression, anxiety, acute stress, and chronic pain from the perspective of the human bioenergetic field, from the perspective of the layers of energy that surround us, whose purposefulness is to guide, teach, heal, and protect us. My passion is teaching energy medicine, such as Reiki, chakra balancing, and Hatha yoga. And it's my gift to see through the layers of the energy that surround our physical body, called the bioenergetic field. The physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual. And my superpower is the ability to connect with your permission directly to the voice of your soul energy. And then as a trained talk therapist, I speak with your ego. It's my job to guide and teach you how to bring your soul and ego back into harmony. And that's the entire purpose of these sessions, these soul healing shows. And today is no different. We're going to be talking about cutting yourself some slack. We just don't do it enough. We're so hard on ourselves. Every now and then, we just have to cut ourselves some slack. Ease up, relax, let go of all of the expectations. Even when we are on our true path and we're living in awareness with soul and ego in harmony, there will always be moments that we can label challenging. That's this wonderful gift called life. If you cultivate a strong and consistent practice of self-care, you're going to realize that the greatest gift of self-awareness is knowing that moment when you need to cut your slack. You need to loosen up. You need to be good to yourself before your energy shifts somewhere else. So, what do I mean by cutting yourself some slack? Well, let's start with, first of all, why we need to do it. We are so mean when we're out of alignment. And we are most mean, cruel, and unkind to our own selves. We have the capacity to think, say, and do things to ourselves that we would never consider doing to another human being, for the plain and simple reason that that would just be too unkind, too mean. We are only that mean to ourselves if we're out of alignment. And what does that mean, in and out of alignment? Well, it means that there is a frequency and a flow of energy that is either your highest good, and it keeps you in that gentle flow. In human terms, we call that good. In energetic terms, we call it beneficial. But it all comes down to one single place, one single energy, one single thought, and that's love. In alignment, you are consistently coming from a space of love. Physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, you are connected to and flowing in the energy of love. That's in alignment. Out of alignment simply means that we're operating at a lower, heavier frequency than we're meant to. We, in human terms, label that bad. In energetic terms, it's called non-beneficial. But its existence is called fear. There are only two places, thoughts, scenes, situations that you can be in. You are either in the energetic flow of love, or you are in the energetic flow of fear. There is nowhere else. As humans, we've created a whole bunch of names for emotions to help us figure out exactly where we are on the scale between love and fear. Let's pretend fear is at the bottom of the scale, the lowest vibration, and it's 0. And love is at the top of the scale at the highest vibration, called 10. As human beings, we move in between those 1 and 9s like they're actual energies. They're not. You're either in love or in fear. And when we're in fear, we are out of alignment. And when we're out of alignment, we take on the negative energetic traits of our emotions. So in alignment, we would feel we would feel connected to everything around us because that's the flow of love. But out of alignment, we would feel disconnected, isolated, and lonely. Every emotion has an in and out of alignment so we can know in that exact same moment where we're at. So when we find ourselves out of alignment, we go into something detrimental that a lot of people flow in and out of, but way too many of us live in it. It's called criticism and judgment. And this is where the incapacity to cut ourselves from some slack, it comes from. We judge and criticize ourselves as bad because we're in a place of fear. And as soon as that judgment and criticism comes in, we cut off our capacity to relax, to release, to flow through any scene, situation, or scenario that we happen to be in. And here is the biggest challenge, but also the simplistic truth of our reality. In every moment, every millisecond, you are choosing how you are reacting and responding. You are choosing whether you're in fear or love, and it is simple, as quick as a snap of the finger, to switch into one or the other. Where we place our attention, where our thoughts, our words, our chosen actions, and inactions come from is what we're going to attract more of. So if you are in your head, literally beating the crap out of yourself, saying horrible, mean things, judging and criticizing, then you are making the choice to be in fear energy, to attract to you more bad stuff, to be out of alignment. Every single moment is a choice, and we literally just have to be aware of what's happening in the moment. I love stop. When I energetically get into that space of stop, I know that I was starting to move towards fear. I recognized it, and I pivoted into heading back towards love. I also love the term cancel. It's when we've created something by already having the thought, the word, the action, or inaction, but we've realized it. It's a little bit too late because we've created it, but we've realized we've created it, so we're canceling any more of it being delivered. The complete and total energetic shift that I love to practice for myself, that right away says to me, cut yourself some slack. Stop creating this crap and start creating something that is good, beneficial, more towards love. And it's the Hawaiian shamanistic prayer called Ho'oponopono. Ho'oponopono. And it goes like this. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. When you're reciting Ho'oponopono, you are speaking to the universe. You are speaking to both the vibration of love and fear, and you're bringing yourself back to the highest vibration you're meant to be. You're also speaking to every cell in your body, but you can intentfully speak this to a person, a place, a thing, a scene, a situation, scenario, and you're literally changing the vibration. I am sorry says that everyone makes a mistake. I just made a mistake, but look how cool this is. I caught it. I am sorry. We say, please forgive me, because forgiveness is the only way in which we can release fear and invite love back in. Forgiveness does not mean that whatever happened was acceptable. It means that you're not going to carry it around with you anymore. It's not going to be an accumulation of fear. I love you. Love is the highest vibration. And when we say, I love you, what we are saying is, I have the capacity to give and receive love and forgiveness. I am giving it to you right now, and I am receiving it from you. I love you. And thank you. We cannot be in fear and in gratitude at the same time. Gratitude is actually mentally bringing back into alignment the physical, the emotional, and the spiritual by feeling and reciting the gifts that we've received. It's an energy that attracts to us more like energy. I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. Is one of the most beautiful ways in which we can learn to cut ourselves some slack. But before we do that, we have to become self-aware enough to realize that the truth is, we choose. We choose how we're going to interpret and perceive this next moment ahead of us. And the truth is that moment that already happened is behind us. We cannot change it. We cannot go back and fix it. But we can move forward and do better. When we're cutting ourselves some slack, we're forgiving ourselves for whatever happened in the past, whether we delivered it or whether we received it. We're forgiving ourselves. We're reminding ourselves that we are powerful co-creators and that we can do better. We cut ourselves slack so that we don't get stuck in fear. We're literally saying, I am worthy of letting go of everything that doesn't actually matter, that doesn't fuel me and take me closer to love. And in this moment, I'm going to pivot out of fear into love, and I am going to do better. And when we do better, we become better. When we are better, we help others to be better. Are you ready to cut yourself some slack? It's time for the first break of the show. When we return, we're going to talk about how we figure out what we are in, fear or love. We're going to explain how our emotions are our guides in this way. You're listening to Soul Healing with Traci Trimble. When we return, we'll get back into cutting yourself some slack. We'll be right back.
Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about the importance of cutting yourself some slack. The importance of this being a major part of your self-care, of your self-awareness. This is honestly one of the biggest pieces in doing your work honestly. What I mean by that is our work is to be consciously competent in moving towards our highest good most of the time. But in order to be competent in moving towards our highest good, we have to first know who we are. We have to know what is good for us and what just isn't. And then we have to learn to know where we're at. And in that process of learning those pieces, cutting yourself some slack is the magical ingredient. We can't do our work honestly if we don't know what's taking us out of alignment. Since today we're speaking entirely about self, cutting yourself some slack, and the reason that we're making this so self-oriented is because you're already pretty good at cutting someone else some slack. But it's almost likely that you aren't very awesome. Or let me rephrase that in the past, you haven't been so awesome at cutting yourself some slack. My treatment expertise, although not entirely my passion, but my expertise is depression, anxiety, acute stress, and chronic pain. I work with approximately 60 people a week, and they originally come to me because they're sick and tired of depression, anxiety, acute stress, and chronic pain. My true purposefulness, my work, is not mental illness. I personally don't believe that depression, anxiety, acute stress, or chronic pain are mental. I believe they're emotional. I believe they are the emotional overwhelm consequence. They are the effect of emotional overwhelm. When we don't even know what we're feeling, it no longer has the capacity to protect us. And when we are unprotected, we get disease, dysfunction. Think of us very much like a computer system. Our emotions are our antivirus software. And if we don't install that antivirus software, we're not protected. And therefore, viruses connect to us that overwhelm us, that slow us down, that steal shit from us. That's exactly what depression, anxiety, and acute stress are. They are emotional viruses. And it's our responsibility to know exactly what's keeping us in that overwhelm. And as I've mentioned now at least 6 times, and will mention at least 4 more times today, that we got to cut ourselves some slack. And until we do, we're not going to be able to find exactly which of those non-beneficial energies are consistently taking us out of alignment. That's why we need to be self-aware. We need to really get to know ourselves, master who we are in each of the 12 most important areas of our lives. If you haven't already by now listened to 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago's show on self-mastery, it's important that you do so. Bear with me for a moment here because I am going to give you a sales pitch, but it's an important one. In my practice, I offer a 45-minute complimentary session. In that complimentary session, I go into your bioenergetic field, your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual layers of energy. And I uncover for you the non-beneficial, fear-based energy beacons that are attracting pain and suffering to you. I've called them your ego story. And when you know exactly what your ego story is, no matter what you're going through, no matter how common that is causing you harm or suffering, into one of 3 fear bases, you have a new perception of life. That new perception of life is the capacity for you to pivot. And when you pivot, you leave fear. You start heading towards love. Now, if you've listened to any of my other sessions, you've heard this a million times, so you probably know me better than you may even know yourself right now. My fear-based ego story is disillusionment. The capacity to latch on to a story, whether it's real or true, and hold on to it like a pit bull with a bone. Disillusionment, when I see those stories in the outside world and I don't like them or they don't serve me, they cause me harm and suffering because I think I need to fix it. Disillusionment tells me that this place is bad, and I go into a defensive, protective energy, which is called blame. Blame is an explosion. It's when everything is everyone else's fault, it's never mine. The opposite of my fear-based energy is guilt. Guilt is an implosion. It's always your fault. Definitely not my non-beneficial energy. And again, my third, the energy that says I'm bad, is anger. So I know that in any given situation, if it is causing me harm and suffering, it's either a story that I need to cut myself some slack on and let it go, or I'm blaming others for that which is my responsibility, my life, or I'm angry. And in particular, my anger is called vengeance. Vengeance anger is the anger of, oh, I'll show you. It's the anger that says I always have to be right, which shouldn't be shocking because disillusionment and blame are my other non-beneficial energies. When I'm in disillusionment, blame, and anger, I'm in fear. And my work, and doing my work honestly, means I want to be consciously aware of every millisecond of my existence where disillusionment, blame, and anger pop up so that I can immediately cut myself some slack. Ooh, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And pivot to moving closer to love. Now, for me, moving closer to love is being purposeful, being on purpose, doing something for a specific reason with a specific outcome, being passionate, being fully engaged and committed to what I'm doing, and balanced. I have to create and maintain my capacity to balance. It can't be too much, but it also can't be too little. So if I'm in disillusionment, I'm not on purpose. If I'm in blame, I'm not balanced. If I am angry, I am not passionate. Do you start to see where that correlates? Do you see why this human being experience has been so challenging? You have no idea, with extreme specificity, without being specific, what your fear energies are and what your love energies are. So you're overwhelmed with the hundreds of thousands of different beneficial and non-beneficial energies, when in fact, every single time, it's only fear, one of three things, or love, one of three things. Imagine how incredibly simplistic life would be, how easy it would be to cut yourself some slack and to pivot, to be and do better with every moment of awareness, to simply be aware. Because you know you're either in fear or love. Something bad happens and you respond to it poorly, you can be like, oh, I'm in fear right now. I'm blaming someone else. I got to stop doing that. And it shifts into love. Or this is the best part of self-awareness. Something which is perceived as really bad happening, and you're totally in love energy. It's not causing you harm and suffering at all because you came into it from the energy of love. In this tragedy, I am on purpose. I'm creating and maintaining my balance, and I'm passionate about being in service. So although it appears to be tragic on the outside, I am completely fueled and fulfilled by it. My experience is that of love. Does that make sense? What I'm saying to you is that is how you choose how you are going to perceive this life. Is it an unlucky, rotten bag of shit? Fear. Or is it the most glorious and amazing experience ever? Love. And let's get real. This is the human experience. I'm not in love energy 100% of the time, but I mostly am. And at the beginning, the first 10 years of me being on this spiritual journey, which I might mention I took alone and became a doctor of energy medicine so you guys don't ever have to do it alone. I figured it all out for myself. I'm here so you don't have to figure it out for yourself. But most of the time, I am in the love vibration. And when fear comes at me, it's usually for a few minutes and to the most a couple days. No more weeks, months, years, decades of living in fear. What are you choosing? It looks like it's time for our third break. Or sorry, that's not true, our second break. Ooh, that was close. It's time for our second break of the show. When we return, we're going to talk about cutting some slack by getting right in the three most important areas of your life. You're listening to Soul Healing with Traci Trimble. I'll be right back.
Now back to the program.
Welcome back. My name is Traci Trimble. I am a doctor of energy medicine, and my passion and purposefulness is to bring your soul and ego back into harmony. And I believe that the starting point of doing that is cutting yourself some slack. We've got to stop being so mean to ourselves. We've got to stop the criticism and the judgment. It's literally killing us, and none of it's true. And none of it matters. It's all fear energy. We can cut our slack by getting right in three very specific areas of life. So if you happen to have a pen handy and some paper, I'm going to give you some really cool, very simple tips. Now, they're simple if you pick 1, 2, or 3 of them to do. It's not so simple if you pick all of them, so keep that in mind. It's personally taken me 12 years to get to the place of cultivating all of them, so don't feel like you're rushing. These 3 areas that we need to get right in so that we can find a space where we can cut ourselves some slack include first, our physical well-being. Second, our intimate love relationship. And third, our career. I want to link these specifically to love and fear energy. When our physical well-being is out of alignment, we cannot feel safe, secure, or supported. Most especially, we believe we're not safe, secure, or supported by our own body, which is why the disease and dysfunction has happened in the first place. The reason that we're going out of alignment is because we're not taking care of this vessel that was meant to take us through this journey as a spiritual being having a human experience. We're not breathing. We're not hydrating ourselves with water. We're not nourishing ourselves with nutritious food. And we're not giving ourselves permission to rest our mind or to rest our bodies. And we're not moving. What happens when we deprive ourselves from full engagement in those 5 physical necessities is that we begin to live in the energy of guilt and blame. It's someone else's fault, or we're not good enough. Our physical well-being is essential for us to live this life. If our body is rejecting, what do you think it's rejecting? It's rejecting the fear. As we move closer to love, we begin to breathe fuller and deeper. Every inhalation nurtures us, and every exhalation detoxifies, literally. Scientifically, we inhale oxygen and we exhale the toxins of carbon dioxide. Metaphysically, we inhale love and we exhale forgiveness. So as we're closer to love, we're hydrated. The fluid of emotion, water, flows through our system with ease instead of being deprived of it. We cannot be emotionally stable if we're dehydrated. Emotions need water to flow. When we nourish ourselves with healthy, nutritious food, rest and movement come easily. When we are in the energy of love, physically, we feel safe, secure, and supported, not only by our own body, but by the world around us. And we are fueled with creativity and passion. So again, in physical well-being, the in alignment is knowing that we can trust our body, that we are safe, secure, and supported. We have everything we need. And that gifts us creativity and passion. But out of alignment, flowing through the energy of fear all the time, we don't think we can trust our body. We don't feel safe, secure, and supported by ourselves or by anyone else. And we're consumed by guilt and blame. We have to get right physically. And the easiest way to do that is pay attention to your breath. Drink water. Choose better food than you would have yesterday. Give yourself permission for rest and movement. And then next, we shift into your intimate love relationship. In alignment, our intimate love relationship fills us full of self-esteem and willpower. It gives us the capacity to be in love and light, and not for any other reason than this. Because when we give love and we receive love as a reciprocal flow, we are in our highest good. We are in love. An intimate love relationship is a way in which we intimately connect on multiple levels with another human being. And in that intimate connection, we are sharing our good and our bad, our love and our forgiveness. We're sharing our shames, but we're also sharing our shames, but we're also sharing our esteems. Our love relationship in alignment is self-esteem, willpower, love, and light. Our intimate relationship out of alignment in fear is shame, anger, lack of worthiness, sadness, grief, and loss of self. And finally, career. Career is not necessarily what we think of it socially. Our career is the way in which we spend the most amount of time and energy being in service to the world known as human being. even better if it's your job, if it's the way that you earn money and create a quality of life. Our careers out of alignment gift us with pain and suffering, because if we're not in our truth, then we're lying. Our thoughts, our words, our actions and inactions take us out of alignment. If we don't love what we do to contribute to society, then we're just lying. And when we lie, we create gigantic stories and illusions that disconnect and isolate us. Career in alignment is speaking our truth, creating powerful stories that connect us to the world around us. Out of alignment, our career, our lies, thoughts, words, actions, and inactions that create harm and suffering, that create stories that control and compel us, and that ultimately disconnect us, isolate us, and make us feel alone. Get right in your physical well-being. Get right in your intimate love relationship. Get right in your career. This is going to make self-care simple. But most importantly, if you're not there, if you're in the process of getting right, or you haven't figured out how to do that yet, cut yourself some slack. Cancel the negative. Pivot towards the positive. You're the only one capable of doing that. Yes, others can help you, but only you can do your work. It can't be done for you. We're moving into our third break of the show. When we return, I'd like to tell you a story about cutting slack that I hope will gift you the courage to, at the very most, get moving in the area of self-awareness. We'll be right back.
Now back to the program.
Welcome back, everyone. I said I was going to tell you a story. I call it a story because you don't need to believe any of it's true. I, however, have about 23 years of an abundance of evidence that this is truth. As I've mentioned in the past, I see about 60 people a week in treatment, so I know this is true. I've done 2 PhDs specifically on this topic, but I want to call it a story so that you listen to it as inspiration instead of fact. Every single one of us started out as energy in the universe. We were part of a consciousness, a wholeness, and that consciousness was comprised of source energy, wisdom, warrior energy, and curiosity. If you needed it as a visual, it's a cell. And we as human beings are made up of billions of these cells. And in coming together, these cells of energy become matter. I believe that we all agreed to leave space, the energy of 100% etheric. And we wanted to experience what it would feel like to be 100% matter. We wanted to be physical. We wanted to experience free will and autonomy and emotions. And so we had to leave space as a spiritual being, and we had to travel through space and time to become human beings. We had to form a physical body inside of another person, a person that we chose because her story was going to influence our story. And when we got here with a very specific task. That task is what I call our soul contract. We are here to experience very specific things that we agreed to before we got here. The challenge is that on our way here, we were a forming body that held our soul and our ego as one energy. And something happened that disconnected soul and ego. Soul says, I am wise, nurturing and passive energy here to collect the contractual obligation. And ego says, screw that. I'm here to protect this body from this place called human being. So we are inside of our body, a passive, wise energy searching for information, and an aggressive, masculine energy trying to protect us. Imagine that this is true, and that masculine, aggressive energy called ego is not protecting us anymore from that which harms us, but is now attracting to us that which harms us. This is fear. Ego is fear-based. And if your energy is fear and you are all ego, then you are attracting fear to you. Soul is love-based, attracting love energy to you. To bring your soul and ego back into harmony simply means rebalancing, bringing ego back to the warrior energy that protects us and navigates the outside world, and bringing the soul energy back into alignment to gifting us the permission to follow our truth, our soul contract. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about next week. That's the story, why we're here. Next week, I want to talk to you about how the ego navigates being human. Its purposefulness is to protect us. But it's taken on a whole bunch of different ways to do that. And let's share that next week.
Thank you for choosing to listen to Soul Healing with Traci Trimble, PhD. We hope you'll join us. Until then, give yourself permission to learn, share, heal, and grow through self-awareness without